Hello all, welcome back. This is the Agent Workforce podcast. My name is Kristiina Niko. I lead marketing at Digital Workforce, and with me we have Niko Lehtonen, who is the AI solution architect at Digital Workforce. Good to see you, Niko. It's been a while. We had Easter and then I was traveling and all sorts of things. What have you been up to?
Yeah, good seeing you as well. I think it's been a 3-week delay or something. Wow. I've been up to building POCs and demos as per usual. Yeah, it's been interesting, but I wish there weren't these short weeks because I feel like I've been running out of time all the time.
I feel you. I feel the same. We have still more this week and one more week in May with this type of short weeks coming up. So definitely feeling the same here. But in today's episode, we'll talk about another circulating CEO email about AI, this time from Duolingo. Then I'll give some greetings from Lloyd's Market in London, where I was in last week. And then we give some OpenAI updates, Microsoft Work Index, some discussions around that, what comes to AI agents. And then lastly, we'll talk about UiPath's new agentic products. And I know, Niko, you have been working with that quite a lot lately. So we look forward to hearing your comments. But let's kick off with another email circulating online that we talked about last time about Shopify CEO leaked memo. And now there's a similar one going all over on LinkedIn and across the channels, this time coming from Duolingo's CEO Luis von Am. I'm going to take a few comments from that. Also say that we're not going to get the newsworthiness of these similar styled emails much longer. So the ones making these statements now will get the bandwidth, and I'm sure that this will become very commonplace going forward. But still, a couple of things I want to point out here. So in that email, he's saying that I've said this in Q&As and many meetings, but I want to make it official. Duolingo is going to be AI first. And Duolingo, that's the game you can play to practice and improve your language skills. On that email, he's also stating that they have bet it on mobile, which made all the difference for the company back then. And now they're making a similar call, similar bet, this time with their platform shift is AI. And for them, being AI first means that they will need to rethink much of the way they work. Making minor tweaks to systems designed for humans won't get them there. That's what he says. And in many use cases, we'll start from scratch. We're not going to rebuild everything overnight, and some things like betting AI to understand new concepts will take time. However, we can't wait until the technology is 100% perfect. We'd rather move with urgency and take occasional small hits on quality than move slowly and miss the moment. I think this is really an important part, because we also know that things are not perfect at all times at the moment, but that's not the reason to not start doing things and not start experimenting things and not start building agents and working heavily with the AI tools out there. A couple of other things from this post: that we'll gradually stop using contractors to do work that AI can handle. AI use will be part of what we look for in hiring, like we discussed in our previous episode. AI use will be part of what we evaluate for performance reviews, like with the Shopify case. Headcount will only be given if a team cannot automate more of their work. So many of the things similar to what we discussed last time. So what are your initial reflections on this, Niko?
Well, I mean, I am looking forward to seeing how they are going to improve the core functionalities of their solution. I would really like to, because it's not a perfect app by any means, but it's been so easy to use and everything, that you can get a decent understanding of a language you've never even thought of just by playing with it. But for instance, I started doing Irish there, and what it doesn't say is that there's actually 3 different dialects within Ireland, and they're all somewhat different. Things are pronounced differently, and for instance, in that language's case, Duolingo is quite far off from pronouncing things correctly and so on. So AI can help with those kinds of things, then I'm all for it. Happy to see how this goes.
They must feel somehow threatened maybe by these tools. Because I mean, at least with ChatGPT and Gemini and all that, you can sort of build and use those as your AI language tutors within the platform and build them as you wish. So we'll see what they'll come up with to improve the experience from that. So that's interesting to see. I was last week in London participating at Lloyd's Market Association event, where we got an opportunity as digital workforce host this event to Lloyd's insurance operators and organizations. I'll give you a few updates from the event, but I can't resist telling that my first conversation started with a comment that a person told me that I went to Perplexity to see what digital workforce does, which took us to a conversation about Outsmart, which is the current flagship offering of digital workforce. But that's funny how conversation can start nowadays, and that's quite indicative how people do search nowadays, that they go onto these AI tools to get better understanding of different concepts and companies and things. So it's really important to be visible in these AI searches, such as Perplexity and ChatGPTs and likes. And I was very happy to hear that Perplexity picked things that were relevant to digital workforce and up to date. So that kicked off the conversation quite nicely. This person was very, very advanced AI user as well. And so we had a very fruitful conversation all in all, and how they are using and experimenting with Gen AI and AI agents in their organizations. But Lloyd's of London isn't a single insurer. It's a regulated marketplace, probably the oldest in the world. It was established in the 17th century, so long operation, a lot of tradition. And it's like a stock exchange, but for insurance, where dozens of competing syndicates pool capital and underwrite risks brought to them by so-called accredited brokers. And they work with large and complex commercial risks and reinsurance. So it's not the typical general insurance type of insurance operations, as we know. But we worked with a consultant who made a study, a consultant called Helene Stanway, and she made a study to these organizations. There are 400 organizations within Lloyd's market, and we got a very good response rate, which was 81 firms out of the London market. And she asked about the state of AI within this organization or these organizations, and the survey result highlighted that 14% of respondents have deployed or experimented with agentic AI or generative AI in underwriting processes. So 1/4. And 65% of respondents have not yet done so in underwriting or claims processes, and 12%, only 12% say that they have no plans to utilize the capability. So some have started, the big majority is looking into getting started. And so AI usage is at an early adopter stage, but they are experimenting with the tools. And the primary use cases have been for what they use as of today is around data extraction. So within underwriting and or claims processes, it's currently seen to be data extraction from unstructured documents used by almost 3/4 of respondents. But over half of the respondents use AI for submission preparations, while 1/3 believe AI has a significant use case for claims triage and automation of simple tasks and policy review, endorsement management. And only 14% saw fraud detection as a primary use case for digital workers or AI agents. I know that you're hearing these for the first time, I guess, Niko, but still any reflections on where we are in Lloyd's market compared to maybe other organizations out there?
Yeah, I mean, well, one thing is definitely that, well, it was obvious that there are some early adopters out there, and a lot of them looking into it. And I would wager that the ones who are definitely not looking into it will be doing so as soon as the percentage of the adopters goes up. So if we do the same survey a year from now, it's probably going to be 100% are either doing it or looking into it. And there are not going to be any naysayers in that front. And also the low percentage of fraud detection. I could say that it might be a bit ambiguous just how much of that actually happens. So it might not be the best first target. There are so many others out there where the volumes are even greater and less unknown. So yeah.
One question that came up there and comes up quite often is regarding data, that we don't have our data in the most perfect condition, and should we wait and do massive like data project first before we can get started with AI agents? And so any comments on that?
Well, I mean, what agents are great at, and large language models are great at, is structuring their unstructured data. So as long as you know what you want to achieve, you can just feed the data to the large language models, and they will do the work for you. So you don't have to have everything prepared. But of course, data sources will be necessary to get something out of it. So, but the great thing is you don't need to have it structured. So that already helps a lot.
Yes, yes, that is so true, and which makes it different this time. Of course, it's not to say that it's not important to have high quality data and good data, and but still, it's not like a hindrance not to do anything if your data is not in the perfect shape. So
Yeah, and just last week I was in Microsoft's global AI bootcamp just to check it out, and one of the things that was practiced to build there was a RAG that was connected to Azure SQL database. So these databases can be huge. There can be all kinds of information, but you don't need to have a complete layout of the database in the LLM's instructions. It's going to be able to make sense out of what it can access. So it's just another example. Even if your database is a complete mess, large language models can make sense out of it and use it as their data source quite easily. Just wanted to say that in case someone was wondering whether that could work for them or not.
yeah, thanks, Niko. Let's move on to OpenAI. Since we had a little bit of a break in the podcast, massive new updates came in my opinion, O3 and O4 Mini on the 16th of April. And I have to say that using O3 for a few weeks time now, it does feel a lot different. Also, it is a different model. It works so much smoother, and it takes in the multimodality. You feel that it's taking the step forward. So it's not just doing what you ask, but it thinks like forward and does things forward. And at least I'm very happy using O3 now. With O4 Mini, I haven't been playing around a lot, but I have to tell, I was explaining in one of the earlier podcasts episodes that I had this silly task that I've been experimenting across different models over a year or so. And it's a screenshot from Instagram about attractivity index in Europe. So it has a map of Europe and with different colors in each of the countries. And then there's a index explanation telling that red means something and yellow means something and so forth. None of the models have been able to crack this, and they've given me just some nonsense answers and all sorts of things. But for the first time, O3 managed with my silly request perfectly. So I need to come up with new tests with the models. So something they can't crack at the moment. But yeah, certainly feels different. Have you used O3?
So far, I've been focusing on O3 Mini and so on, and I just pulled up Microsoft's LLM quality leaderboard from Microsoft's Azure AI Foundry, which is based on people's experiences and general measurements, how they measure the quality of these LLMs. O3 Mini is at number 5 with a quality of 0.88. So 1 is the best that you can have. Nobody has that much. And O3 is at number 1 with a quality index of 0.90. So it is better. O4 Mini is the second one, marginally lesser quality and so on. But yeah, definitely the world seems to see what you are seeing as well, Kristiina. There's price-wise, of course, O3 is on another level as well. But that is the thing with this. bigger ones, but it's not as expensive as O1 was, for instance, like not by a long shot. So that's cool as well.
Yeah, it sure seems different when you use the model. So looking forward to what they come up with next, but it's just the way it creates like tables and inserts in multimodality, brings in pictures and does things on your behalf, and all the deep research type of functionality is sort of inbuilt in everything that you do with O3. I know that some techno optimists and speakers out there may even started claiming that is this the first indication of AGI when it was announced on the 16th of April, but I wouldn't go maybe that far, but it's definitely a step forward, and I recommend you guys go and play around with it if you haven't done so yet.
Yeah. And
moving on to, sorry,
no,
go ahead.
I just wanted to add something that we discussed a bit earlier outside of this podcast, was that already these models are on a level that anything agentic, we've been looking to do could do it with these models. So on that front, I'm very happy with the way things have been advancing, because I mean, sky's the limit right now for what kinds of agents you can start building. And yeah, we'll see just how far that can get with further improvements. And if you were to look at how things were a year ago, it's a completely different world right now with all the reasoning models and the advancements in the reasoning models. So what's going to happen next year?
Yeah.
It'll be weird listening back to these and thinking, oh, we were so naive back then.
Yeah, that's true. I think Sam Altman said at some point that they should just put back the first version of ChatGPT at some point and force people to use that for a moment to really make people understand what's the year to live if you sort of forget what has happened and where we started. But yeah, so true. Hey, let's also talk about ChatGPT Search, improved shopping results from ChatGPT Search. This came out like yesterday, today. I am not yet seeing this on my ChatGPT, but it's they say that when you use a query that suggests shopping intent, I'm looking for buy costumes for something, or to buy sneakers, or to buy work-related services, I guess, and products as well that you might need, not so much services, but like e-commerce type of products that are visible in the e-commerce search results. ChatGPT is bringing this now into ChatGPT user interface. Have you seen this in your platform yet? Let me just show my screen if I can pick up something.
And no, I didn't have it either. They do say it's going to take a few days to roll out it to everywhere, but they haven't defined whether it's region by region or account by account. It's supposed to be available for free users, pro users, enterprise users, and so on. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. It will supposedly look just like this, what I'm sharing on the screen now. So we can see the product as we are used to from Google searches, doing product-related searches with price and so forth. But the interesting thing is that how do you get your product if you're a company selling to other companies or a company selling to consumers? How do you get your products into these ChatGPTs and searches? And in this particular article, there are some things about this, so you may want to go and read this if you operate in this part of business. Okay, but let's move on to, before we go to UiPath, to something that Microsoft launched, so which is a work trend index and annual report, something they released last year as well, and now the new report is out, and they have analyzed survey data from 31,000 workers across 31 countries, LinkedIn labor market, trillions of Microsoft productivity signals, and so forth. And what they have a few interesting concepts here, which I wanted to bring up. So they talk about a frontier firm that looks markedly different from those we know of today. And the firm is structured around on-demand intelligence, powered by hybrid teams of human and agents. Companies scale rapidly, operate with agility, and generate value faster. And from this survey pool of 31,000 sample, 844 employees, which equals to 2.7%, work at the companies who meet this bar, And they say that 5 trades, I'm just going to show some of they have a frontier, like a glossary here, what they mean by frontier AI firm. And the journey to the frontier firm starts with the phase 1, which is human with assistant, phase 2, human agent teams, phase 3, human-led agent operated. And they say that 5 trades set these companies apart. So they have organizational-wide AI deployment, advanced AI maturity, current agent use, projected agent use, and believe that AI agents will be the key to realize ROI on AI. So some interesting data points here. I recommend you guys go and read this survey result report and some interesting statistics. Like with all research, we need to be, of course, very mindful of who have conducted the research, who have responded to the research, and so forth. But still, I feel with this massive sample size, it's something that we might pick some useful points of information here and there. So recommendable to come. So it says that every employee becomes an agent boss, and how human agent teams will upend the org chart. And this is something I see coming forward as well, that we definitely need to plan our organizations differently going forward when we bring in agents, and not around silos anymore like we have had before, but instead like around goals that we want to achieve. So maybe that in short. Any initial reflections? Have you checked this?
Yeah, I gave it a quick scour. It's not I mean, we've seen similar content before, I would say. Of course, this time the sample size is much bigger and so on. So it is a even better indication of where the world is evolving in terms of agentic solutions and businesses. And the fact that there's big organizations and not just AI first organizations. So and seeing how these big organizations steer the ship towards being AI first is interesting to see in the next couple of years.
So true. As a final topic of today, let's move on to UiPath. Tell us all, of the UiPath Agentic product coming out soon, maybe. Who knows? Just
yeah.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, as we're shooting this on April 29th, 2025, UiPath have announced, originally at least, that their agent product will be out on April 30th. So that will be tomorrow. Let's hope that's the case. We've had access to we've had access to early access version, the preview version, and I've been building some, POCs and internal production solutions with it. And I have to say that as someone coming from the BPA world and the automation world in general, I do like the usability of this quite a bit. But it's not just the agents that are what makes this solution what it is. There's also the orchestration, which is called Maestro. And then there's the UiPath Action Center, with which you do the human in the loop things. And then there's the UiPath apps, with which you connect these things together. And you can do all of this simply in the cloud version. And of course, it would be insanity to not have a work queue there or have statistics on what you're doing. So you're going to use the orchestrator as well. Now, in terms of licensing, there's going to be a lot of different licenses you need for this. But again, the usability is really, really high here. And for smaller pieces of processes and things that focus more around on tasks rather than long-going sequences of actions, I can say that this is potentially going to be huge for UiPath. And it'll be interesting to see just how different the product is when it's launched. First of all, right now there's just a few LLMs that you can choose from and so on. And I know they will have more enabled in the future. But it doesn't have the bring your own LLM option at this moment. And I don't think the commercial version will have it either. But there's a lot of things you can do with it. And how should I put it? It's going to be interesting how much it facilitates within organizations who are already using UiPath, because it's really going to help them take the next step much easier than it could have been before.
It's bringing in two capabilities at the same time. So business process management layer sort of.
Yeah.
And also the agentic. Yes. So quite crucial. And we've been talking about this, the need for a business process management type of layer with the agentic solutions, because that gives us the controllability and visibility and all that. So nice to hear. Can you just quickly share as an example what you've done, if you've built anything, a use case or anything with UiPath?
Yeah, sure. So we get a lot of inbound emails in our info box. I mean, a lot. And at times it's a struggle for our people to scour through them with precision and accuracy. And every now and then something is missed. So there might be a sales opportunity or might be an invoice that needs to be handled. And so our agent, simplest one we've done at least, but this is the one I was doing, is simply one that monitors the inbox, analyzes the emails and categorizes it. And based on how the categorization goes, it forwards it to a certain team and so on. So it doesn't try to do everything by itself, but we are simply using an agent in between to facilitate the triage. And already that is going to be really valuable to us because of the huge influx of emails. No need for keyword-based filters or anything like that, because you can't trust those very well, especially when you have emails coming in on multiple languages. You're going to need a lot of different keyword filters and so on. But there's no need for any of that. AI is going to analyze the document and the email, regardless of the language, and summarize it for us. And then we can see what we want to do with it if it's something that's interesting.
Yeah, sounds like a simple, powerful solution, and can't wait to see that in action. I'm also one of the people involved in checking the inbox, and it is a lot of inquiries we do get, and across in different languages and all that. So good to have that AI assisted going forward. But I think that's all for now for today's episode. Thank you so much, Niko, for the updates, and thank you all our listeners also for the feedback we have received from you guys. And if you haven't done so yet, so you can go to agentacademy.ai, where we have 2 courses currently available, third one coming up soon, I hope. And that's all for now. Thanks all for joining, and speak to you soon again.
Thanks, everyone.